Hello friends, I'm in town today for an appointment, and seeing as we're here, I figured we might as well stop in to Savers. That's right, today is going to be our very first thrift with me of 2025, and I cannot wait to see what they've got. Let's go find out. So it was such a beautiful day in Footscray, and I could not wait to get to Savers for our first thrifting session of the year. And obviously, whenever I first walk into Savers, it's kind of a bit overwhelming, and I'm never really sure where to start. I have been asked about my process when I'm thrifting, and I think the best answer is that I tend to try to go to the areas that aren't too busy at that time that I'm still interested in. So today I started in the men's section, and here I'm having a look at the pants, but there just really wasn't a whole lot going on in the men's pants section, so I moved on, although these parrot pants did make me chuckle. They were very fun. Then onto the men's sweaters and jumpers, and I did really like the overall look of this jumper, although I just don't know that I'm quite ready to bring 2010's Twee back as much as I loved it with the elbow pads. It's a little bit too much for me, I think. So continuing just to sift through and see what I can find, and of course this green. This green popped out to me immediately. This is the perfect green. Are you kidding? Obviously that was going straight into my cart. I was very excited about that. Then I did also have a bit of a look through the men's button-ups and shirts, although this is where we will discover that my camera was playing tricks on me. So I have weird footage to show you. We're going to do our best to kind of put it together. Button-up shirts is definitely something at the top of my list at the moment, so I picked out a few in colours that I liked, that I thought might work. Again, just sifting through and see what strikes my fancy. This kind of really bright lime, almost yellow top did interest me just because of the colour, but excuse me, Savers, $10 for an old Miller's top? You have to be kidding. I suppose for me, because colour is such an important part of how I get dressed and how I like to get dressed, I do sift through a lot of the clothes in certain sections, but I'm definitely picking out colours that I'm attracted to. For example, this purple top, I really like this colour. I would love to have more of this colour in my wardrobe. I didn't like the shape of it. It's kind of like this short sleeved bat wing thing going on, and then I didn't really like the feel of it either. So I always make sure to check the fabric composition, and even though I like the colour, it wasn't going to happen. And then something that happens to me from time to time at the op shop, I touched something velvet without realising that it was velvet, and it just freaked me out. I hate the feeling of velvet. And so as much as I love thrifting, it can be challenging for me from a sensory perspective sometimes. The thrift store can be so bright with those horrible lights. It can be so loud with the scratchy hangers and just so many people around, and there's so much movement with people around. And then to top it off is just all the fabric and the touching fabric, which you just kind of have to do. So one thing I always make sure I have on me at the op shop, and you might be able to see, I've got earplugs in, because no, I might not be able to control for every sensory input, but that is one that is pretty easy to control for, at least to a certain extent. And that definitely does help and make my thrifting experience a whole lot better overall. This lime top was obviously another colour that jumped out to me. I love bright lime. It was linen. I was really excited about this one. But anyway, moving on from the short sleeve section, I of course had to check out the women's knitwear. Again, we're in the middle of summer, so the section wasn't extensive, but I just have such a soft spot for knitwear. And I do tend to have pretty good luck in the knitwear section, so I had to check it out. And this dog sweater is just too cute. I mean, I can't see myself wearing it, but it was adorable. Then onto the coats and jackets. They had this short sleeve, I don't know if it's a shirt or a jacket, but there was something about the colour and some of the details that I thought were really interesting and pretty. And then they had this bright red blazer in my size, and I just had to try it on. I've never really been a blazer kind of person, but I do actually need and am looking for kind of a light to medium weight red jacket of some description. And so I was kind of excited to see this. And this is just me trying to figure out, could I be a blazer person? I don't know. Anyway, I just grabbed a bunch of stuff that looked cool and threw it in my cart to try on later. And then, of course, you know me, we're stopping in at the book section. Savers was starting to get quite busy by this time, and my camera just was overheating and shutting off so much by this point. So I really didn't get all that much footage, but I did spend a nice amount of time browsing all of the lovely books. And again, we will talk about that later. Now it's time to try some of our items on. Now, this red blazer, I do think it's really cool. This weird, kind of gaudy button is fun. And I really like the color, and I like the flaps at the front. I don't know if there's probably a word for that. At the end of the day, I just don't know that I'm a blazer person, and I just don't know that I think that this is that special. So I did end up leaving it. Then this green jumper, I mean, spoilers, I suppose, but of course I got this green jumper. It's just perfect. It's just perfect. Then the linen lime green top that I was really excited about. I love the sleeves, but like it just is too big for me. Particularly like the neck hole, the head hole, whatever that's called. It's just gaping. So not the right fit for me, unfortunately. Then that blue kind of short sleeve coat thing that I found, I do really like it. I think it's just interesting and pretty, and I love the color. I like the sideways pleats at the front. I really like the collar kind of look on me. I thought it was really nice. I just couldn't imagine myself wearing it. But now let's head home and take a look at everything that I actually got. So as I mentioned at the beginning, this was my first trip to an op shop in 2025. But honestly, it has been a couple of months since I've been to Savers, which is a long time for me to go without stopping by and taking a look at what they've got. So I had a great time. I had a great time just having a browse, having a bit of a squiz. Now I did have a few camera troubles. I don't know why, but my camera just like kept overheating, and then it wasn't recording when I thought it was, and it was recording when I thought it wasn't. So I wasn't able to capture for you quite as much of my trip as I was hoping I would. But we're still here at the end to do a little bit of a good old-fashioned haul. Because yes, the thrift gods did bless me, and I did actually find some kind of incredible things. We've got some books behind me, and I also picked up 3 clothing items, which I'm really excited to show you. So what should we start with? I suppose the first thing is something that you did see me find, is this jumper. Come on, there was no way that I was leaving this behind. Green is just like such a core part of my wardrobe, and I found this Jag Australian merino wool green jumper. It's like such a perfect green. And yes, I do have other green jumpers, but this one fits me very differently from my other green jumper that I do have. It's a much more fitted kind of fit, whereas the other green jumper that I've got is more like an oversized. It's like a men's jumper. It's also more of a crew neck, whereas this is a V-neck. Look, I know these distinctions aren't massive, but green is my favorite color to wear, okay? And it genuinely looked like this had never been worn before. Like it's in such good condition. And now I am someone who tends to prefer cotton over wool, even if it is merino. But this merino wool was just really soft, and I just couldn't go past it. Also, I know it's a little bit hard to see here, but it is one of those ones where it's constructed where it kind of looks like the seams are on the outside, like visible seams. It's just a really lovely quality piece of clothing. I loved the fit on me. Obviously, I love the color. It wasn't cheap though. Savers was asking for like $18 for this. And I do think I used to be the kind of person who, when I was going to Savers, I genuinely was just looking for like a bargain. And I was looking to buy a whole bunch of stuff at the lowest price I could. Whereas these days I am much more picky about what I get, and I am willing to spend a little bit more to get a thing that I really do like and that I think I'll wear. And so even though I was kind of side-eyeing Savers a little bit, I think this is just a really lovely piece that I'll get a lot of long-term wear out of. Next up is a pair of pants that I think I did catch my reaction when I saw them on the rack, but then the camera quickly cut off again. So these are the pair of pants that I didn't really get to show you while we were there, but I mean, of course I picked them up. So these pants are from a brand that I've spoken about a few times. They're from Sook. I do own several pairs of Sook workwear pants, but all of them I have purchased secondhand because they're a company that I don't want to support. I don't want my money going to them. And happily, I have been able to find so many pairs of Sook workwear pants in my size secondhand. Usually on Facebook Marketplace. I've even seen them on eBay. I've got a few from Depop. But to find them at Savers in my size was just kind of like a next level excitement. Now, when I say in my size, these are actually a size bigger than I normally wear, than all of my other Sook workwear pants are. But these are like the slim fit pant, and so they actually fit me quite well. I think too these might be an older pair of Sook pants because a lot of their newer ones have like pull tabs on the waist where you can kind of tighten the waist, make the waist a little bit smaller to fit you better. These ones don't have that, and I have heard that their sizing used to be a bit smaller. So I'm not sure if it's the sizing thing or the fact that they're a slimmer fit or a little bit of both, but these ended up being perfect for me. They're kind of like a charcoaly color, like a deep gray, maybe with just like a touch of warmth in the gray. I just find workwear pants to be very practical for me. I find them very comfortable, and I think they just really suit my lifestyle. They're a kind of pant that I wear more days than I don't. I wear them to work a lot. Obviously, being a bookseller, I'm moving around a lot, I'm bending over, I'm reaching up, like they're just comfortable in that sense. But also I walk a lot, and one of my like main hobbies is bird watching. And so like at least once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, Blair and I are going out on basically bushwalks looking at birds. And again, these are just like the perfect kind of pant for that. They're like rugged enough not to get caught or torn on like, you know, random branches. They're the right length on me where I won't have to worry about snakes. I suppose they're workwear pants, right? Like they're designed to be both comfortable but also rugged and well wearing. And they're built to accommodate movement, you know? And so all of those reasons, and also I just really like the look of them on me, I've just found workwear pants becoming a staple in my wardrobe. And it just so happens that I really like the cut and fit of Sook, and they stock sizes that fit me. So they're a brand that I look out for even if I don't want to support the brand itself. And so to find a pair at Savers in like basically new condition, again, they don't look like they've been worn, and Savers did have these priced much more reasonably at $12, which more than happy to pay. More than happy to pay for these. And then my third item of clothing, I'm so sad to say that I thought I was recording when I was in the shoe section. I don't often have much luck in the shoe section, but of course the time that I do, my camera is like overheating and not recording properly. And so yes, I did find a pair of shoes. I found these like burgundy Doc Martens. I have never owned a pair of Doc Martens. Honestly, Doc Martens kind of scare me. I've just heard nothing but terrible things about like the fit being inconsistent and about how much pain people go through to make them comfortable and wearable. But also I've heard a lot of rumors about their like declining quality in the last 10 years or so. So even though I've always liked the look of Doc Martens and like their various kinds of shoes, I've never been compelled to purchase any. But when I saw these at Savers, and again, like they look a little ratty in some areas, but like the sole of the shoes is like completely clean. I think these have probably been worn like once or twice, maybe just around the house kind of thing. And I tried them on at Savers, fully expecting them to be really painful and uncomfortable, but they just fit me like a glove. They were so soft. They are certainly a lot heavier than most of the shoes that I tend to wear. But other than that, I just really liked how they felt. And I don't have any shoes in a color like this, but you know how I love sort of like a derby lace-up sort of shoe. These were another item that Savers definitely kind of like knew what they had. I think they were charging $25 for them. But $25 for a pair of what are hopefully quite good quality shoes and basically new, I just couldn't pass them up. I'm really looking forward to wearing these. And I can see myself getting a lot of wear out of them in winter in particular, so I'm already getting excited for the seasons changing. It's a long way off yet, but it's never too early to start getting excited about what you're going to wear in the new season, is it? So those are all the wearable clothing kind of items that I bought, but I also picked up some books. Of course I did. So the first one I picked up is just this copy of Blueback by Tim Winton. Tim Winton is just like one of the most famous and successful Australian authors. I've read some short stories from him before that I really liked. I tried to read his really famous book Cloud Street and I hated it. I hated it. I think I got about halfway through before I DNF'd it. But Blueback is one of those books that we actually stock at work. Like it's appropriate. And I think it might be for children. Blueback is a story about people learning from nature about a boy and his lifelong friend. So I've often been kind of curious about it, but not enough to actually purchase a copy at like full retail price for myself, even with my staff discount, you know. And I have also seen quite a few copies over the years at Savers, but they're always really ugly copies. But when I saw this one, there was just something about the cover that I really liked. I think this is one of the earlier editions from the 90s. Actually, yeah, this one is from 1997 when the book was first published. And it's in really good condition. I don't think it's been read. I think it's just been sitting on a shelf for the last almost 30 years. And I don't know, there was just something that I really liked about the cover. And so I thought maybe I could finally get around to reading this book. Next up was a book I was very excited about. This is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen. This is a book I have wanted to purchase constantly for the last couple of years. I've heard that this is some really great autistic rep. I've also heard that this is very funny, but in a dark kind of way. So it's a book that's literally been on my list for a long time, like my wish list, but I hate the Australian cover. I hate this cover so much, and I really like the international cover, or the American cover, I guess. I just hate it. I don't know what to tell you. And so every time I go to purchase, I'm like, I don't want to spend $15, $20 on that cover. Even though I want to read the book, like there's just something about how much I hate this cover that just stopped me from actually purchasing the book so many times over the last couple of years. And yes, I could order in like a nice copy from overseas, but then it would cost me like $30 or $40. And to do that for a book I don't know yet if I'm going to love, like it just feels a little unnecessary. You know? And so when I found this copy of the ugly cover that I hate, but only for $4, I was like, this is my chance. This is my chance to finally just read this book. And if it ends up being one of my favorite books of all time, then sure, maybe I'll get myself a nice copy. But in the meantime, I actually get to read it without spending $20 of my dollars on a cover that I detest. And when I say that, I don't think this is like the ugliest image I've ever seen in my life. There's just something about it that I think looks like an unfinished book. It looks like a proof, not an actual published book. And I think too, the fact that I do really like the other cover, actually I think there's a couple of covers that I really like. It's just like, why? Why did we get stuck with this one in Australia? It seems really unfair, but I am really excited. I'm really excited to finally actually get to read this, hopefully this year. Then another book I was really excited about, and I literally nearly have purchased this a couple of times in the last few months from work. It's a young adult book called When Michael Met Mina by Runda Abdel Fattah. Runda is an author, poet, activist, academic here in Australia that I just love. I've attended a lot of her talks online, I've read a bunch of her essays, but I've never read a novel by her. And this is a book that she put out several years ago about Michael and Mina, who meet at a rally for refugees, but they're on opposite sides. Mina and her families are refugees to Australia from Afghanistan, while Michael's parents have founded a new political party called Aussie Values. So anyway, like I said, it's a book I've been meaning to pick up for a while, but we usually only ever have one copy in stock at work, and so I always feel bad taking it. And like I could special order in myself a copy, but like it feels silly to do when we've already got one in stock, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, I make up reasons not to buy books because I have too many already, I suppose. Anyway, my point is that this is a book that I often think about purchasing from work because we do stock it in the young adult section. And so to find myself a secondhand copy at Savers yesterday was very exciting. And then finally, the fourth book that I found is this lovely hardcover. All the books are like blue, aren't they? We've definitely got a theme going on. Anyway, it's this really lovely hardcover copy of A Diary of a Bookseller by Sean Bithell. Now, I've read another book by this author, which I really enjoyed. I found very funny. It was more kind of like breaking down the archetypes of customers you get as a bookseller in a bookstore. And as a fellow bookseller, obviously, I loved it. It was just so fun. I shared it with all my bookseller friends when I read it a few years ago. And I think this is like literally a diary of like working at a bookstore. And ever since reading that other book, I have always kind of been like curious. Like I knew this author had other books and like I was vaguely interested, but I just don't really ever see them in bookstores. I don't know whether that's because they're a little bit older or something. But when I saw this edition, like it's just really pretty. I really like the cover, and it was a book that I was already kind of interested in. So of course I had to pick this one up too. So there we have it. Those are the 4 books that I picked up along with the 3 clothing items. And that concludes our haul, our very first thrift shop haul of 2025. And I think you'll agree that we found some pretty great things yesterday at Savers. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great about my first thrifting excursion of the year. And I think that about wraps us up. So a big thank you as always to my lovely patrons, and especially big thank you to Olivia and Lynette Brown. And thanks for being here. I will see you in the comments and in the next video. Until then, happy thrifting. Bye.